Hello friends, in this lecture I will discuss about the introduction to supervisory control and data acquisition, that is SCADA. Definition, block diagram, various components or elements, application, generation or the architecture of a SCADA. Okay, so these are the content. The learning objectives are, so we will define the SCADA system. So we learn the block diagram of SCADA system, various elements of SCADA system, application and generation or the architecture of SCADA system. SCADA is supervisory control and data acquisition. SCDA. Nowadays we are talking about the industry 4.0. So what is the industry 4.0? So we started the manufacturing with the mechanical automation, and nowadays we are seeing the changes in the automation processes, in the machinery. So we can control the process from the remote location with the help of IoT and information of technology. And recently, so again we are discussing, or we are talking, or we are using machine learning and artificial intelligence. Okay. So these are the changes from mechanical automation to the machine learning and artificial intelligence. Okay. And this SCADA is the component of this automation system. SCADA is the component of this automation system. So this SCADA is a combination of telemetry and data acquisition. So what is a telemetry? It is a process of recording and transmitting the readings of the instrument. Okay. And data acquisition is a collection of data from the device or from the process. Okay. That is called as a data acquisition, so that we can collect the real time data. Okay. So what is the speed? Okay. What is the current, voltage? Likewise, so different real time parameters that they are acquired by using sensors, transducers at the remote terminal unit. Okay. And from that remote location, by using telemetry, they are transferred to the central location. So SCADA encompasses the collecting of information, transferring it back to the central site, carrying out any necessary analysis and control, and then displaying the information on a number of operator screen or display. Means it collect data and it send data to the central site. And based on this data received at the central location, okay, the action is taken, corrective action is taken, and the message or the required control actions, they are conveyed back to the process, so that the process, they will adopt the changes based on the data or message sent from the central location. So SCADA system allows an operator in a location central to a widely distributed process, such as oil or gas field, pipeline system, irrigation system or hydroelectric generating complex, to make set point changes on a distant process controllers, to open or close valves or switches, to monitor alarm and gather measurement information. Okay. So from this example of the application, that is oil or gas field, pipeline system, irrigation system, hydroelectric generating. So from that, to get the idea, so these processes, they are spread along a long distance, okay, in kilometers of areas, and it is not possible to visit the oil or gas field, okay, or on the pipeline system, irrigation system, to monitor the process or to monitor the parameters, okay, so that the remote devices, they are used, sensors, transducers, they are used at the remote locations, okay, and from that remote location, this RTU, they will collect the data, they will send data to the centralized system, okay, and where this operator, he can monitor the various parameters in the field, okay, and based on that, he will take the decision and he will send the control action, okay. So when the dimensions of process becomes very large, hundreds or even thousands of kilometers from one end to the other, one can appreciate the benefit of SCADA offer in terms of reducing cost or routine visit to monitor facility operation. So these oil and gas fields, they are located at very remote places, okay. So to travel this hundreds of or kilometers of distance, okay, so it is not possible daily to visit there to monitor these parameters. So for that, the SCADA system is very beneficial. So there are two definitions of SCADA. Okay. First, SCADA is the technology that enables a user to collect data from one or more distant facilities and or send limited control instructions to those facilities. So it will enables user to collect data from one or more distant facilities, okay, from the remotely locations, okay. Say there is a single location or there are more than one, okay. So from these distant locations, okay, you can collect the data. This SCADA system can collect the data, okay, and based on the analysis of this data, so it will send limited control instructions to those facilities, okay, in open wall or closed wall, okay, or in terms of percentage, it will send the in case of flow control, it will send the signal or message in terms of percentage, okay, so that the closing or opening of this wall is controlled. So this definition is defined by the SCADA, Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, by Stuart A. Boyer, which is published by ISA, the Instrumentation Systems and Automation Society, in his 3rd edition book. Okay. The second definition is defined by the IEEE standard. So it defines the system operating with coded signal over communication channels so as to provide control of RTU equipment. Okay. So what IEEE standard says, okay, so it is a coded signal over a communication channel. Okay. So when there is a communication from the RTU side or from the MTU side, okay, so it will send the coded signal, okay, so it will send coded signal. There is an electrical signal, that electrical signal is coded, and this coded signal is sent to the central location, okay, or the central facility, so that this signal cannot be decoded by the other system, Okay. So this is the definition by IEEE standard C37.1-1994. Okay. In definition, specification and analysis of system used for supervisory control, data acquisition and automatic control. So these are the two definitions of SCADA defined by Stuart Boyer in ISA and IEEE standard. Now we'll just take the overview of the applicable processes. Okay, so where it is used or where it is applicable. Okay, so pipeline for gas, oil, chemical or water have elements that are located at varying distances from a central control point, can be controlled by opening and closing valves or starting and stopping pumps, and must be capable of responding quickly to market conditions and to leak of dangerous or environmentally sensitive material. So there is a pipeline, petroleum pipeline from Mumbai to Manmar. Okay. So this is 100 kilometers of pipeline, and so there is no say physical vigilance is possible. So on this pipeline, so at different location, pressure switches are mounted. So pumps are there, and at different locations, the flow sensor, pressure sensors are there. Okay. And by using this, so we can check the leakage of petrol or diesel from this line. Okay. So we can measure the pressure at different locations, okay, because of the geographical conditions. Okay. So there are up and downs in the pipelines. Okay. So the pressures, they are measured at the different locations, and from that we can monitor whether there is a leakage, whether there is a theft. Okay. So that can be monitored by using this SCADA system. And from this remotely located pressure switches, flow meters, okay, or pumps, they are monitored. Pumps, they are controlled by sending on and off instructions, okay, or by sending the PWM pulses so that the speed of these pumps can be varied. So this is the application of this process SCADA system in the pipelines for gas, oil or chemicals or water. So in electrical transmission system, okay, so electricity is generated at hydroelectric plant, thermal power plant, or say by using windmill or renewable energy at the remote location, and from where it is transferred to the load center. And during this transmission, okay, so energy is a step up for transmission purpose, it is a step down, okay, for distribution purpose again it is a step down. Okay. So during this operation from generating up to the end user, so electricity step up and step down, there are various substations, okay, and at these substations for say controlling the power flow, monitoring the parameters of the line or the power, okay, that is a current, voltage, kWh, kVRH, frequency, power factor. So the digital meters or relays, they are used, okay, and by using this digital relays, digital meters, okay, so these parameters are sent to the load dispatch center, okay, and at this load dispatch center they are continuously monitoring the what is the generation, okay, in terms of megawatt, okay, so it is a requirement of power, okay, and based on that they are giving the instructions to the generating station based on the availability of power, okay, they plan or they schedule the flow of power. Okay. So in which area the there is a need of power. Okay. So where there is no need. Okay. So based on that, so they control the flow of power. Okay. So in the electrical transmission system, because this transmission system network, it is a hundreds of kilometers. Okay. Or it is a spread over thousands of square kilometers. Okay. So individually or at the different location, it is not possible to monitor by using say physical presence and communicating through the wired network or through the telephone. Okay, so it is not possible. So for that purpose, the SCADA is very useful, or it is very much applicable in the electric circuit. Similarly, for irrigation system, okay, so SCADA is used extensively in the electricity sector. Other SCADA applications include transportation network and application requiring remote monitoring and control. Okay, similar to real-time process control found in building and factory automation also. So typical signal gathered from remote location includes, okay, so what kind of data is communicated? Okay, alarm, status, indications. Okay, so these are the discrete values, on off, analog values and totalized meter. Okay, so means at the end of shift, okay, so how much say crude oil is lifted from the oil well. Okay, so how much quantity is produced during the shift. Okay, so in this way we can get the totalized value at the end of shift. Okay, we get analog values, so real time. So it is a sending. Now at this instant, this is the current or this is a power flowing through this transmission line. Okay, now after say 15 hours, so it is a continuously sending the signal. Okay, so at the fractions of second, it sends the update signal. Okay, at the same time it will send alarms whether there is a fault in the system. Okay, or there is a abnormality in the system, so it will send alarm. Whether the pump is on or off, the machine is on or off. Okay, so it is sending the status indications. Similarly, signals sent from the SCADA's central location to the remote side are usually limited to discrete binary bit changes or to analog values addressed to the to a device at the process. Okay. So as I told, so whether you have to close or open the valve, so that is a discrete binary change. Okay. In terms of analog, you have to control the opening of that valve. Okay, say as 40%, 75% or 80%. Okay, so that is a analog value. So in this way, from the central location, it will send discrete or analog values to the remote terminal units. Okay, or in the field. An example of binary bit change would be an instructions ordering to motor to stop. So the process or motor is running, okay, or pump is running, and you have to stop that motor, you have to stop the pump. Okay, so you can send either discrete command in terms of binary bits 0 or 1. Okay. Another example of an analog value would be an instruction to change a valve controller set to 70%. Okay. So in this way we can send discrete or we can send analog instruction. Now we will see the elements of SCADA or the block diagram of the SCADA system. Okay. So here the pictures or the figures shows the various blocks or various elements. Okay. So there is a operator, so there is a display, there is a keyboard, printer, mouse, okay, or touch screens are there at this operator location. Then there is a HMI, human machine interface, so that this operator, he can say monitor the various values in the form of table. He can monitor various status or commands from the field. At the same time, by using this keyboard, mouse, okay, he can send the command. Okay. Then there is a central control station, or that is also called as a master terminal unit, MTU. Okay. So this is the central location. Okay. Then next block is a remote terminal unit, RTU. Okay. Field data acquisition and control unit. So between this master terminal unit and remote terminal unit, okay, so there is a say few kilometers or few or hundreds of kilometers distance is there. Okay, so they are not located at the same location. So there is a communication between master terminal unit and this remote terminal unit via internet, wireless network, wired network, or switch public telephone networks. So by using wired or wireless network, so there is a data transfer between master terminal unit and the remote terminal unit. Then these remote terminal units, they are located or near to the field, and after that, so there are field data elements such as pumps, sensors, switches, okay, and between this remote terminal unit and this field devices, okay, so the rate of communication or the rate of data transfer is very high as compared to this master terminal unit and the remote terminal unit. Okay. So these field devices, they are controlled by this programmable logic controller or the controller at the remote terminal unit. Okay. So they are used in the closed loop system. They are used in the closed loop system. Okay. So they are continuously monitoring the data, processed data. Then it will send commands so that the system is maintained at the desired set points. Okay. So again, here there is a operator, master terminal unit. Okay. So there are modems. So this is a wired network, remote terminal unit 1, 2, okay, remote terminal unit 3, 4, and this section, so there is a wireless network. So there is a wireless network. So this is the block diagram, or these are the elements of this SCADA system: operator, HMI, MTU, wired or wireless communication, remote terminal unit, and the field devices, sensors, transducers, and the actuators on the field. Now we will see these blocks or elements one by one. Okay, so operator. So at the center is the operator who assesses the system by means of an operator interface device. Okay, so which is sometimes called as an operator console. This is called as an operator console. So nowadays, in the load dispatch center or in the power generation utility, okay, so there are large screens are there. Okay, so on that screen they can monitor all the process parameters. Okay, so there are display, keyboards, printer, mouse, touch screen. Okay, so all these devices are there as a operator console. Then this human operator who monitor this SCADA system and perform the supervisory control function for the remote. Okay, so based on the desired operation of the process at the remote location. Okay, so this operator knows based on the data received from the remote terminal unit. Okay, so he is monitoring the say process parameters. Okay, he is monitoring the alarms. Okay, and based on that, he is taking decision and he send the commands to the field devices. Okay, he send command to the process. Then next is a HMI. Next is a HMI. Okay, human machine interface, or it is also called as a MMI, man machine interface. Okay? So this presents data to the operator and provides for control inputs in a variety of formats, including graphics, schematics, windows, pull down menus, touch screens, and so. Okay, so this by using this HMI. Okay, so by using this mimic diagram, by using this graphics, by using this schematics. Okay, so we can represent the plant, we can represent the process in terms of graphics. Okay, so that we can monitor the plant process in a single window, and on that window we can get the various values of that parameters. Okay, so we can monitor the temperature, we can monitor speed, we can monitor pressure. Okay, and so there are pull down menus. Okay, or there are number of screens, so we can switch off from one screen to another screen. Okay, so in this way this HMI provide the facility to the operator. Okay, then master terminal unit. Okay, so this master terminal unit is also called as a host computer or server or MTU. Okay, so based on the different say manufacturers, okay, so they can use different terminologies. Okay, for this master terminal. It is a equivalent to a master unit in a master slave architecture. So it is called as a master. So it will send command to the remote terminal unit, and based on the command received from the master terminal unit, so this RTU will send data to the master terminal unit. Okay, so they are work on master and slave fashion. So it can monitor and control the field even when the operator is not present. So in this master terminal unit, some algorithms they are set in the master terminal unit, and if the operator is not present, in that condition also, based on the algorithm in the MTU, so it will monitor the parameters. So it will compare this parameter with the set value, and according to the algorithm, so it will generate the signal, it will generate the command, and it is a sent to the remote terminal unit. Means this operation can be done in the closed loop system by this master terminal. So there is an algorithm, and based on this algorithm, so it will generate the commands, or it will generate the signal. Okay, in the absence of operator. So the transmission rate of data between master terminal unit and the remote site is relatively low, and the control method is usually open loop because of possible time delay or data flow interruption. So this distance is very large. So master terminal unit send the command to the remote terminal unit, and based on the command received from the master terminal unit, so this RTU will send the data. This master terminal unit or the operator, it will analyze the data, and based on that data, if there is any abnormal condition, or based on the process parameters or process requirement, if you have to change any set point, so this operator or master terminal unit will send the signal or command to the remote terminal unit, and based on this command received from the remote terminal unit, so it will take the corrective action in the process. Okay. So in this way, the data transfer is less. The rate of data transfer is less between NTU and RTU. Okay, as compared to the field devices. So for that, the data transfer rate is moderate between remote terminal unit and the master terminal unit. So communication means. So there are two common media of communication: landline, which take the form of optical fiber cable or electrical cable, and is either owned by the company or leased from the telephone utility and the radio. Okay. So first, wired communication. And for this wired communication, so the network from the another utility is taken on the lease, or depending on the importance of the process, priority of the processes, okay, or the security of the system, the company has its own network. So communication can be through the internet, wireless, or the wired network. Okay. So this is the wired network and this is a wireless network. Okay. So through internet, wireless, okay, or wired network, or the switched public telephone network. So this blue one, wired or wireless network. So this wired network, either the company has its own network or it is taken on the lease from the telephone or the radio utilities. Another one is a wireless network. So in wireless network, so the modems are present at both receiving and transmitting end. These modems, they modulates and demodulates a signal on the carrier is required. So from the remote side, so signal is modulated, signal is coded, and this coded signal is sent through this wireless network, and at the other end this signal is decoded, it is demodulated, and the data is acquired or received or stripped out from the this communication signals or protocol with the help of this modem. Okay. Some large systems may be use a combination of radio and telephone lines for the communication. Then next element is a remote terminal unit. Okay. So functions as a slave in the master-slave architecture. So this remote terminal unit is act as a slave. Okay. So when the MTU asks for the data, then and then this remote terminal unit will send the data or it will respond to the command from the master terminal. Okay. So it sends the control signal to the device. Under control, acquire data from these devices and transmit the data to the master terminal. Okay. So this remote terminal unit, RTU, so it will receive data in the form of discrete sensors in terms of on off. It will send data to the discrete actuator to turn on and turn off. So it will receive the analog data. Okay. So it will send the analog data to the controllers for opening and closing in terms of percentage. So it will receive pulse generators. So it will send pulses to the stepping motor. Okay. If there are encoders, So from that encoders, it will receive the pulses for the measurement of speed or for the counting of the speed. Okay. Similarly, it will send the pulses for stepping of the motors. Okay. It will send the pulses for stepper motor. It will send the PWM pulses to control the speed of the motor. Okay. An RTU may be a PLC or IED. So this remote terminal unit, this is nothing but the programmable logic controller or intelligent electronics devices. Okay. So it works in the form of closed loop data. Okay. So there is a program, there is a ladder program, there is a algorithm stored in this remote terminal unit. Based on this remote terminal unit algorithm or program, so it receives the data. Okay. So it will process the data and accordingly it will generate the signal and send to the field devices. Okay. So this RTU is worked in the closed loop form with the field devices. Okay. At the same time, so this PLC or IED or this RTU has a memory and it will store the data in its memory, and when this master terminal unit asks for the data, so it will send the data from its memory to the master terminal. So the data rate between RTU and control devices is relatively high and the control method is usually a closed loop system. Okay. So as compared to MTU RTU, the data transfer rate is high, and generally these devices and RTU, there is a wired network. Okay. So there is a wired network through this field interface panel. Okay. So each RTU must have the capability to understand that a message has been directed to it. Okay. So that the RTU must identify the data or message. Okay. Then to decode the message, to act on the message and to respond if necessary, and shut down to wait a new message. Okay. So this RTU, once the data from MTU is received, okay, so you must be able to identify to which remote terminal unit the data is sent. Okay. Then it must has the capability to decode the message, okay, to act on the message and to respond if necessary, and shut down to wait for the new message. So these remote terminal unit connections between RTU and the field devices are most often made with electrical conductors, that is wires. Usually the RTU supplies the electrical power for both sensors and low power actuators. So it will send the power. So there are transducers, so which required power for the conversion of this physical parameter into the electrical signal. Okay, so that power is sent by this remote terminal unit. Okay, so there are some proximity. So for this proximity or say optical sensors are there, they require power. That power is sent by this remote terminal unit. Okay. So RTUs scan each of sensors and actuators. Okay. So based on the ladder program, based on the algorithm. Okay. So this remote terminal unit or PLC or IED, it is a continuously scanning all these sensors. Okay, and accordingly it will generate the output and it is sent to the actuator. So it is a scanning all these sensors and actuators, status of the actuators. Okay. So this is the remote terminal unit. Okay. The computer can record and store a very large amount of data. Okay. So now we'll start with the advantages of the SCADA system. So in the SCADA system, at the master terminal unit, okay, so there are computers, okay, so which is act as a server, so which is having large amount of memories. Okay, so at these memories, So we can store the data, okay, and from this memory we can recall the data for the analysis purpose. Okay. Then the computer can record and store a very large amount of data. The data can be displayed in any way to the user requires. Okay. So this stored data can be used for the future analysis. This data can be used if there is any, say, events happen, like any abnormal condition occurs. Okay. So to identify, for that we require data, and this data is displayed in terms of graphs. It is displayed in terms of bar chart. Okay. So it is displayed in terms of table format for the statistical analysis. Okay. So this data can be displayed in any way which required by the user. Okay. So thousands of sensors over a wide area can be connected to the system. Okay. So in spite of connecting these sensors directly to the master terminal unit, okay, so based on these different locations, okay, they are connected to the remote terminal unit, and from that remote terminal unit it is connected to the SCADA system, okay, through internet or through wireless network. So the operator can incorporate a real data simulation into the system. Many types of data can be collected from the remote terminal unit. Means from this process, okay, so we can collect speed, we can collect pressure, we can collect force, okay, we can collect say linear displacement. Okay. So if there is a CNC machine, okay, at the remote location, and from that machine, so we can take the temperature of coolant, we can measure the temperature of motor, we can measure the speed, okay, and based on these parameters, okay, what kind of job we have to start. So these parameters they are taken, and based on these parameters we can again set the desired, or we can set the new parameters. So the data can be viewed from anywhere, not just on the same. So by using this SCADA, okay, or by using this IoT, we can monitor the substation parameters from anywhere. Okay, there is no need to physical presence in the substation, and only we can monitor the parameters. So by using this SCADA system, we can monitor the parameters on laptops, we can monitor the parameters on the mobile screens. So these are the advantages of SCADA system. Disadvantages of SCADA: the system is more complicated than the sensors to panel system. In a machine, all these sensors, actuators, they are connected through the wires in the electrical panel or in the control panel. But here there are number of remote terminal units are there. There is a communication, different communication protocols are there. There is a wide wireless networks are there, and for that we require algorithms. There is a communication between servers. So overall the system is very complicated. The different operating skills are required, such as a system analysis and programming. So in the hardware electrical panel system, if there is a fault, so with the help of say multimeters, so we can identify the fault. But here we have to write down the algorithm. If there are change in the process, so we have to write down the new algorithm. We have to upload this algorithm. Then we have to set the different set parameters. We have to analyze this data. So for that the various mathematical skill, statistical skill, analysis skill, then the networking skills they are required. So with thousands of sensors, there is still a lot of wires to deal with. The operator can see only as far as the PLC. So on the centralized SCADA system, the operator can reach up to the PLC. He can change the set points in the PLC. He can change the ladder program in the PLC, but he cannot reach to the sensors in the field. So these are the drawbacks or disadvantages of the SCADA system. Now we'll see the generation of SCADA. There are three generations. First generation called as a monolithic, second generation distributed, third generation network. So these are the three generation of the SCADA system. Okay. So first generation or the monolithic SCADA system. So when SCADA systems were first developed, the concept of computing in general centered on the mainframe system. So there is one server, and this server is communicated through this wide area network to these different remote terminals. Okay. So networks were generally non-existent and each centralized system stood alone. Okay. Only one single server is there, and this server is communicating with this remote terminal. Okay. And this is called as a stood alone system. So for different areas, there are separate SCADA masters, and from these different SCADA methods, so we are collecting the data, and then say we are comparing and we are analyzing this data. So these SCADA systems were stand-alone system with virtually no connectivity to others. Okay. So there is a single SCADA and it is connected with. Now there is no connection between these different SCADA masters. Okay, there is no communication between these different remote terminal units. So wide area networks WAN were implemented to communicate with the remote terminal unit. So designed with a single purpose in the mind, that communicating with remote terminal unit. Only main purpose or only single purpose, that this SCADA master has to communicate with remote terminal unit. Okay. There is no other way of communication. There are no other purposes. So communication protocol in a use on SCADA network were developed by vendors of RTU equipment and were often proprietary. Means say in the field, so we use the PLCs from the Allen Bradley. So this communication protocol is developed by the Allen Bradley or the Rockwell Automation. So with this SCADA and remote terminal unit, the communication protocol used by the Allen Bradley, okay, or Rockwell Automation. If there is any change, if you have to replace the remote terminal unit or PLC, if there is any fault, then you cannot replace it by another manufacturer's device, because if you connect that device here, so that device cannot communicate with the Allen Bradley or with this Rockwell Automation protocol. So for that, again you have to take the PLC from the Allen Bradley or the Rockwell. So that is called as a proprietary. So similarly, this Siemens, this Modicon, Mitsubishi, GE, they are having their own hardware, and this hardware communicate or support with their own protocol, okay, developed by these manufacturers. So they are called as a proprietary system. So these protocols were generally very lean, supporting virtually no functionality beyond that required scanning and controlling point within the remote device. So initially these protocols, they are divided for the scanning and controlling with the remote devices. Okay. So it was generally not feasible to intermingle other type of data traffic with a remote terminal unit communication on the net. So connectivity to the SCADA master station itself was very limited by the system vendor. So redundancy in this first generation system was accomplished by the use of two identically equipped mainframe systems. So for the redundancy purpose, the similar set of equipments, identical equipments is used. Okay. A primary and a backup connected at a bus level. Okay. So the standby system primary function was to monitor the primary and take over in the event of detectors. Means only one first system is working, another system is in a standby mode. If there is any fault detected in the primary system, then it take over by the another or by the redundant system or by the secondary system. Okay. So otherwise only first primary system it is monitoring or it is working. Okay. So this type of standby operation meant that the little or no processing was done on the standby system. So it is standby. It is only isolated system. If the fault is detected, only in the case of fault, so this second system is come into the picture and take over to the primary system. So the advantages of development and improvement in the system miniaturization and local area network develop the second generation or the distributed generation. So by using this LAN network, okay. So by using this LAN network, local area network, so there are different servers, they are connected to the LAN, okay, and these servers, they perform the different tasks assigned to them, okay, and these different SCADA systems, they are communicated with these servers or with this LAN. Okay. So multiple stations, each with the specific functions, were connected to a LAN and shared information with each other in a real time. Okay. So some are allotted the analysis, okay, on some the graphical screens are provided, okay, on some the bar charts are provided, okay, on some the Excel sheets are provided, okay. So in this way, these different operating stations, they assign the different tasks, okay, and they share the information on this LAN. Okay. So in the real time, so these stations were typically of the mini computer class, smaller and less expensive than the first generation processor. Okay. So in this first generation, so we required the large memory size, okay. So that machine has to do all the these functions which are now here distributed to different operating station through this LAN, okay. So all these functions, they are done in a single processor, okay, in the single computer in the first generation. So some of these distributed stations serve as a communication processor, primarily communicating with the field devices such as remote terminal unit. Some served as an operator interface, providing the human machine interface HMI for the system operators, and other served as a calculation processor or database. So by distributing the work, okay, with the help of LAN, okay, so the overall processing capacity of this system is increased. Okay, and they can communicate with the remote terminal unit. Okay, so that there is no delay in the real time system. Okay, so delay is avoided. Okay, so at any instant, so we can get the analysis in the form of bar chart, in the form of pie chart, in the form of tables, in the form of Excel sheet, in the form of graphs. Okay, so that is possible. So the distribution of individual SCADA system functions across multiple systems provided more processing power. Okay, so the overall processing power is increased or it is improved for the system as a whole than would have been available in a single processor. So the network that connected these individual systems were generally based on the LAN protocol. So in the first generation, okay, so the proprietary protocols they are used, and in this case the LAN protocols are used for the communication. Okay, and we are not capable of reaching beyond the limits of the local environment. And some of the LAN protocols that were used were of a proprietary nature, where the vendor created its own network protocol or version thereof rather than pulling an existing one open or off the shelf. So this allowed a vendor to optimize its LAN protocol for real-time traffic, but it is limited the connection of network other vendors to the SCADA LAN. So this is again the say limitations of the LAN protocol. The distributed architecture often kept all stations on the LAN in online state all the time. So all these stations they are connected with the LAN, so they are connected online, okay, with these remote terminal units. For example, if an HMI station were to fail, another HMI station could be used to operate. So in this operating station, if this HMI station fails, then immediately we can shift to the another operating station. Okay, but in the previous one, if the main there is a failure of main system, okay, then it will shift to the another redundant system or the secondary system. Okay. So used to operate the system without waiting or fail over from the primary system to the secondary system. Okay. So in that case, so there is a delay is there for shifting from primary to the secondary, but here because of this LAN local area network, okay, so immediately we can shift on the another system. Okay, so we can monitor or we can use the another as a HMI. So the WAN used to communicate with the device in the field were largely unchanged by the development of LAN connectivity between local stations at the SCADA master. Okay. So these external communication networks were still limited to the RTU protocols and were not available for other types of network traffic. Now the third generation, that is called as a network SCADA system. The current generation of SCADA master station architecture is closely related to that of the second generation. Okay. So with the primary difference being that of an open system architecture rather than vendor controlled proprietary environment. Okay. So here the open system architecture is used. Okay. Instead of proprietary, the open system architecture is used. Okay. And with this we can use the open source interconnection or the open source protocols for the communication purpose. Okay. Now the hardware by the particular manufacturer, and the protocol for the communication of that hardware. Okay. Now that proprietary is destroyed in this network. Okay. So we can use any kind of hardware from any manufacturer. We can use open source interconnection for the communication purpose. So different manufacturers' device, they can communicate on this open protocol system. Okay. So there are still multiple network systems sharing master station functions. So there are still remote terminal units utilizing protocols that are vendor proprietary. Okay. So from the transducers, from the sensors up to the remote terminal unit. Okay. So there are vendor proprietary protocols are there, but it is limited only the field devices. The major improvement in the third generation is that of opening the system architecture utilizing open standards and protocols. Okay. So this is the very large benefit of this network SCADA system. So here we are utilizing open standards protocol. Okay, means we can use hardware from different manufacturers. We can communicate with these hardwares. Okay, or remote terminal unit, master terminal unit, by using the various protocols, and the protocols and making it possible to distribute SCADA functionality. Okay. So here, so the network is divided into the different parts. It is divided into the different parts. It is a distributed, and these distributed servers, they are connected with this through this wide area network, through this cloud, to the SCADA master servers. Okay. So there are different communication servers, and these servers, they communicate with the main or master SCADA servers. Okay. So open standards eliminate a number of limitations of previous generations of SCADA system. The utilization of open or off-the-shelf system makes it easier for the user to connect third-party peripherals such as monitors, printers, disk drives, tape drives, etc. to the system and or the network. Okay, means we can use any manufacturer's device in the system. Okay, so there is no say hard and fast. We have to use the particular manufacturer's device, previously used device, manufacturer's device. Okay, only that device we have to use. That is not necessary. That is not needed in this network system. So we can go for the any manufacturer's device for monitor, printer, disk drive, tape, or the say PLCs, IEDs, RTUs. Okay, as they have moved to open or off-the-shelf system, SCADA vendors have gradually gotten out of the hardware development. Okay, so only these manufacturers, they focus on the hardware development. Okay, so hardware development is another party. Software or the communication or software development is another party. Okay, so in this way, the hardware development is large in the network SCADA system. Okay, so this hardware development business and the concentrate their development in an area of SCADA master station software. Okay. So the major improvement in the third generation SCADA system came from the use of WAN protocol such as Internet protocol for communication between master station and the communication equipment. Okay, so instead of using WAN, okay, so we go for the Internet protocol, IP. So vendors are now producing remote terminal units that can communicate with the master stations using an Ethernet connection. So this is about the SCADA, है ना. So we learn the definition of SCADA. So we study different blocks in the SCADA system, different elements and their functioning in the SCADA system. The application of SCADA system, where SCADA system is used, okay, or where it is applicable, and the generation of this SCADA system. So from this discussion, you will be able to define the SCADA system based on ISA or IEEE. You can able to draw the block diagram. You can able to describe the function of each block, each element, and where this SCADA system is used. Okay, so that you can select the SCADA system or application of this SCADA system, and you can able to describe the various generations of the SCADA system. So these are the references used for this lecture, and thank you for patience listening.